Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My last video I introduced you to my new ride, Ruby, here. Replacing a Ranger, the Jeep Wrangler 4xe that was very nicely built, and I do miss that build. But Jeep kind of blew it with that vehicle, and I'm kind of glad now that I've moved on. Anyway, what's going to follow here is a series of videos that I put together as we prep for the installation of the Go Fast camper. About 4.5 months ago, I ordered the camper, and I'm going to be getting it next week installed. And as I spent the last 4.5 months watching videos on the Go Fast campers and truck camping and what doesn't matter if it was the Go Fast or the Pacific or the there's a couple others out there, and you got your tunes and things like that. I started noticing that there's a lot of videos on how to dust proof and how to waterproof the bed of your truck, and I thought, well, that's kind of something I might want to know. And then I also came across some videos talking about some damage that happens to the Colorado. And in fact, there is a statement in the owner's manual that says that if you install a slide-in camper or anything similar to it, it'll invalidate your warranty. Well, I don't think a Go Fast camper is kind of like a topper with an integrated rooftop tent in it. So it's only about 200 and maybe 270 pounds with the accessories I've got going on it with like a MOLLE panel and stuff. So anyway, I don't think that's going to invalidate it, but I did come across a video where a guy with a ZR2, both the first model year and then the same 2025 as mine, so that would have been a 2023, has damaged his bed rail as a result. Now he's pretty rough on his. He does a lot of hard rock crawling and stuff like that, which I'm kind of over after getting rid of the Jeep. And then a Tune camper that had kind of the same thing happen. So there is a weakness built into the Chevy bed where it goes from 2-ply to 1-ply in the corners, and I think that might be part of the problem. So I did some research on that, came across some CBI bed reinforcers. So what's following here is videos of some of the things that I went through to prep for getting the GFC camper. And the only thing that has to be done is sealing the bed rails, because once the camper goes on, you really can't get to it. But the other stuff is like, well, might as well go ahead and prep it now, because my plan is to pick it up in Montana and go and do some camping in it. So I wanted to get it at least a little bit secured with water tightness and everything. And leaving the tailgate for when I get back, because my luck, I would trim all the tailgate seal just shy of the Go Fast camper seal and still have gaps to have to fill. So I thought, well, I'll just wait. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the series of videos I put together over the course of probably a couple of 2 or 3 weeks, maybe, on getting this truck ready to go. And with that, we'll see you down the trail, or at least on the way to Montana. In preparation for the installation of the Go Fast camper, once it's on, it's pretty difficult to water and dust proof the inside bed. And so what's recommended is popping off these rails. And I've put some tape here to help protect it from the pry tools. And we're going to take 2 people so they don't bust any of the tabs, and go up underneath. You can see here that I'm not talking to you, Siri. Anyway, you can see that there's little tabs there, and I'm going to get up underneath and try and squeeze those while my son helps pull and pry it off. Also note here that it goes from a 2-ply to a 1-ply, and that's caused some problems with downtime lost. If you see his YouTube channels, he's actually tore his bed twice. So I think maybe we're going to take a look here and see if there's a way to reinforce that or not. I am going to go ahead and install some CBI here, this area here, and it goes over these tie downs and across here. It's going to be a bed stiffener for both sides. I'm going to have those are on order, so that'll be hopefully done before I go up to Montana to have it installed. But today we're going to pop these rails off, get it all cleaned up. Got some pry tools here. We're going to use the painter's tape. This will hopefully allow me to have some ability to get up and squeeze those tabs. Then we'll put the foil tape down after we clean it with some denatured alcohol. They recommend this Sikaflex 221 for up underneath to be able to seal everything up. And then there's going to be areas like up here in front. You can see that this bed rail in front across this window is at a different height. And so that's going to cause some problems up in here. So we'll end up using some butyl tape to seal up some of this area here to help keep the water and dust out, especially the dust as you're going down dusty, dirty roads. So anyway, that's the project here for the next event for Ranger. All right, back in this corner of the Colorado, there's at least 3 clips, and we've had to take the tail light off to be able to get up in here. And so far we got 2 of them that have let loose. Definitely helps to have a buddy helping you. They do not want that cap to look untidy on the end, do they?
They really do not.
All right, we'll come back and we make some more progress here. All right, so these 2 on the end here have metal clips on them, and that's what we're fighting with right by my son's thumb there. And the one back here just won't let go. All right, so what we ended up doing is working our way down the clips, and that took enough stress off of the one on the end that it finally popped off. But there's also then metal ones down here that we cannot access because there's no light to take off of these, obviously. That's some move.
Probably some special service tool that takes this thing off.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. Something that a body shop has. Well, we'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, it's off. I'm gonna start working on the other side, and the clip got a little mangled, so we had to get up in there and pull it out and then kind of re-put it back together again. While I was down here, though, one of the things I've noticed, not only am I gonna have to seal up all these, but there's also, as you can see, little square holes everywhere back up in there for probably some mounting of something. They're all gonna have to be sealed up. All right, next rail, here we go. We're gonna try and do this side without taking the tail light off by starting in the middle. We'll let you know how it goes. So on this side, we didn't take the tailgate off, but we were able to get it off with the clips staying in, but we have to still take the clips out so that we can seal it up with a foil tape. But at least this way it was easier to get off working it out from the clips instead of trying to get the clips out at the time. All right, for sure, pro tip is to start in the middle and work your way out. You can pop the thing out of the metal tabs and then take the metal tabs out afterwards and then put them back on. The the piece. All right. Okay, now I've cleaned off the rails with some denatured alcohol, let it dry, and then we're gonna start putting the aluminum tape on. Okay, you got it. The foil where this post is might be a little too thick. I didn't cut it out enough, I guess. There we go. There we go. All right. I did get a little bit of bleed over. I got the tape down though. So hopefully that'll take care of that. All right, one side done. Okay, got this panel back on. Using a little denatured alcohol to clean up anything going on. We've got a little bit of weight here to help that end right there seat down, and then we'll trim it up. You can see we're just putting a bead around the perimeter, and then we'll put a bead around each of those posts, and then up on top we put a bead down each side and around the post holes on the top. Okay, so there's the underside of the rail. As you can see, we've put the Sikoflex caulk around all the studs sticking up, and then around the post hole areas. Alright. And then because we had enough, so if you just did that, one tube is good enough for the bed. But because we also decided just to run a bead around the perimeter and then around the posts again up here, it took us one tube and an eighth of a tube. So, okay, so we're doing kind of an initial wipe with a rag to get up the excess. I'm glad I put the tape on the bed. It was actually there to protect the bed from us prying that off, but kind of also double did it as a way to protect the paint. And then I've got just a rag here, just a shop rag with some denatured alcohol on it. And we'll use that here to kind of clean up some of this residue. There we go. And then we'll put to help out with this end here, since it wants to raise up a little bit, we'll put another weight on it. Pull the tape off of this side. Okay, it's been about 36 hours. Didn't need to let it sit that long, but yesterday was Sunday. Didn't really need to use the truck at all. The caps are very firm on there. They're not going to be coming loose anytime soon. A couple little places where a little bit of the aluminum kind of trying to show through into there, but that won't be any big deal. Once it gets a little bit of, road grime up under there and stuff, it'll probably disappear. So everything worked out real well. If I ever need to, for some reason, use these stake pockets, they're all not coming out. I don't see myself ever needing to do that. So everything worked out pretty well. I've decided I'm going to put the CBI bed stiffeners in prior to the installation of the Go Fast camper if they get here in time. I've got about 30 days before the installation, and it's a 2 to 3 week delivery time. So we'll see if I get them in time. And the reason I've decided it's a good thing to do, if you notice here, look at the gap here. As you move down, it closes. So it's less. It's obvious that that left side is pushed out a little bit more. Wouldn't worry about it if they were equal, but this side's pretty much equal all the way down. So that side runs pretty parallel, and this other left side is out a little bit different. I don't know if you can see if I just back up a little bit more from it. It's more obvious to the naked eye than it is to the camera. So yeah, I'm gonna put the bed stiffeners in. So obviously I pulled it out of the garage, went and drove it today. I'm thinking that maybe there was a little bit of flex going on in the garage, because now it looks a little bit more even on both sides, right? So when we go to put the stiffeners in, we probably want to make sure that we are on a nice flat level ground and that they're both about the same. Well, welcome back to part 2, everybody. So the rails now have been sealed, and I took some butyl tape about a week ago and kind of shoved it up in there and then tried to mold it to kind of seal off that top part of the cap. I did that on both sides, and it is still a little tacky. It probably will stay that way, maybe until it gets a lot of dirt and stuff on it. It's actually been driven in the rain already once. I was thinking about whether or not I wanted to do any more sealing up until before I get my rig. And then I wonder if I really need to do this at all. And if you look, see you got some light shining through there. So yeah, it's gonna get plenty of dust in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna run a bead of Silkiflex down that edge along that bottom and back up. Yeah, see more light shining through there, up and along there. Then for the rest of the bed, I might just put a dab or two of Sikaflex right there where that square is. Maybe not. Actually, that's looking pretty big. I might just end up putting some RV tape up in there. I may not actually hit that with Sikaflex. I'll let you know when I do that. Here in this bed, there's a hole in the floor there. I have a little rubber button stopper I bought from Amazon and put on there. And I've got one for this one, but I didn't do that yet, so you can see its size. It's a 1/2 inch. And then I got these smaller ones along here. These, I believe I'm going to put some RV roof sealant on. These two I'll leave open, and the thought that my son had was, if I ever have like a jug of water fall over and break open or crack and flood the back here, I do need to have the ability to let some of the water out. And that might need to be able to pull those little plugs out. Normally you can say, well, just pull uphill and the water will run out down the tailgate, but I'm gonna put a kind of a rock block along there, and that's gonna seal that up. And I'm not gonna seal up the back tailgate until I do get the camper home, because my luck, I would cut and trim it to look nice, and then the Go Fast camper seal would not come all the way. And so I'll just wait until I get home to do that. So, all right, that's the project for today. And I did hear that my bed stiffeners are getting ready to ship. And apparently my garage right here is not quite level, and it makes the bed flex a little bit. So when we get ready to put those on, I'll go find a nice flat true spot to be able to do that and drill those holes. Okay, more in a minute. Okay, so the beading's not very pretty because unlike normal silicone caulk, this stuff's like rubbery. It's really, really hard to squeeze that handle on that caulk. You really better
have your forearm grip and strength. Anyway, all the way across there. Should seal that up. And then up the side. And I went ahead and put a dab in each of these. And then I think I'm gonna go back and put another dab on them now that they're kind of falling through a little bit, just on those small ones. And on the square holes on the side, I decided to leave them for now. I'll probably wait until I get the topper on, and as well as that area there, there's a kind of a hole where it goes from 2-ply to 1-ply. Same thing right here. My youngest son had a great idea. Get a sponge, and I'll put a sponge up in there. That'll keep the dust out, but also allow for some airflow, maybe, for ventilation perhaps. So I might try that instead of cutting up with a plastic template and then taping it up. All right, hope this helps y'all. Today we're gonna install the CBI bed supports. There's a left and there's a right. And I had to back up 3 or 4 times to get the flex out of the bed so that both rails were about even. And here's the hardware that they sent. I need 10, they sent 13 of each. So that's kind of cool that they knew that I would probably lose 1 or 2. Anyway, so that's our project for today. One of our lessons learned is we need to use a pair of grips to hold the added nut, or riv nut, if you will, in place. Otherwise it just spins until it tightens up a little bit, and then you can use the 1/2 wrench to hold the spacer nut and the ratchet to be able to tighten it down. And we fought with the first one for about 20 minutes. I really struggled to try to figure it out, watch a whole bunch of videos, and I thought, well, let's just try to hold it, and that worked. Left side's already installed. Looking good there. Okay, there we have it. They are installed. And I think it's gonna work out well. All right, with just a little bit of trimming, we're able to get my last fit liner back in here. That'll help keep things from sliding around. Also a little more deadening and some insulation if I do any winter camping. Anyway, I think it's gonna be okay. It's not gonna cup and hold water because of the cuts we had to make here. But for the other reasons as stated, I think it's gonna work out. I decided because of, oh gosh, can you see it? Yeah, there's those square holes right there, because there's a chance that maybe the clamps might be going in that area for the GFC camper. It might be harder to seal those up later, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that now before I go up to Montana next weekend. Okay, here's the product I'm going to be using to seal up the holes on the side there. And you can see you can get it in white or black. I happen to get it in black. And you can get it like in 8 inches. I think this is a 4-inch roll, 50 feet of it. Well, please forgive my neighbor for running his blowers, but went ahead and put that roof seal tape down over those holes, even though I put some Silcoflex in them. And I've got the little rubber button stopper in that hole that can be taken out and used if I need to drain some fluid out. And then you can see there, those 2 squares are now sealed up with some of this roof tape also. And I did the same thing on the side, on this other side. The one big project left to make this completely dust proof is to do the tailgate seal. But I'm not going to do that until I pick up the GFC, because my luck, I would trim it too short and then I have a problem. I have to redo it. So I'm going to wait until I actually get that. I have not used my Rome Adventure box handles for a while. I took them off because I had some mounts that were on top of my Jeep
for them, so I didn't need them, so I had taken them off. Kept them, thank goodness. And I've converted now them into, one of them into a handle. These are the screws that were already in, okay, at the top, as a way of holding this panel down. And I just backed them off and carefully punched a hole through that material, and it should last for a while. I've got 3 more of these if it doesn't, and if it doesn't, I might look at putting a grommet in it. That way it'll keep it from tearing, but we'll see how it holds up. But other than that, I think we are ready to head up to Montana next weekend and get this GFC installed.